Hi, everybody. This is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts and Colossal Fossils. This is a Q&A episode, so let's actually get started, shall we? So let's start with the YouTube questions. So, Madster, your first question is, were phytosaurs more terrestrial than crocodilians? A little bit. You can see phytosaurs, for a lot of people that don't know, phytosaurs are crocodilian-like reptiles that lived in the Triassic. And so they almost look like crocodiles. They have the same type of design. But their snouts are more narrow, and their legs are somewhat underneath their body. But I would say they did have a little bit more. They spent a little bit more time on land than they did in the water. But they probably did get in the water when they needed to actually hunt down for prey. So they'll catch fish, they'll catch crustaceans, they'll even try to ambush attack smaller animals. They probably would not try to do larger animals unless if it was needed. But I'd probably say that just a tad bit, because they are semi-aquatic, so they are semi-aquatic creatures. So phytosaurs would probably spend a tad bit more time on land than normal crocodilians. And were phytosuchians once endothermic and later reverted back to ectothermic, or maybe they were ectothermic all the time? That's a really good question. And so pseudosuchians, these are crocodilian-like archosaurs. That's what they used to be called. But now they're just a form of, it's pretty much it's the type of archosaurs that are different from dinosaurs. And so these are animals that would be more closely related to crocodilians than they would be to birds. So these animals, say Postosuchus, Desmatosuchus, Saurosuchus, those types of prehistoric animals, I probably would say is that probably majority of them were cold-blooded, which is ectothermic. In terms of endothermic, there's a possibility it could happen to them, especially the ones that they have the legs straight underneath their body, so Postosuchus and Saurosuchus. There's a possibility that those types of archosaurs could have that, or otherwise maybe Poposaurus. But I'd probably say they're a little bit more cold-blooded, because I think they did need the sun to warm up a little bit more, whereas dinosaurs, they didn't need to have that to happen to them, so they can just go around and have their day. So that's the one thing that dinosaurs are different from the true archosaurs, is that, or otherwise the crocodilian archosaurs, is that dinosaurs were able to not use the sun to warm up at all. They just were able to, go about their day like what birds are and mammals are, because they're because birds and mammals are warm-blooded. I mean, we still don't know what dinosaurs really are in terms of cold-blooded, warm-blooded, or otherwise are they somewhere in between? I mean, that's a debate that's still going on. But yeah, I'd probably say they're a little bit more ectothermic, but that's just a guess. Lukezilla, who would win, Bigfoot or cave bear? Now, I'm not really big into cryptozoology, so I mean, let's just say for the sake. How would Bigfoot face off against how would Bigfoot do against the cave bear? As a cave bear, they're a little bit more herbivorous, so they will eat mostly plants and those types of things, but they can eat meat if they have to, mostly probably going after fish, maybe a carcass that is lying around somewhere from say cave lions or otherwise humans. But I mean, let's just say for the sake, Bigfoot versus cave bear. Bigfoot would have strength. That's one thing it would have. It would have a bigger brain, of course. Cave bear will also have strength, but it probably might have bigger amount of strength than Bigfoot would. And then you actually have the weaponry that the cave bear has: its big claws, big teeth, big bite force. So I'd probably say cave bear on this one, because cave bears would have the weaponry necessary to take down Bigfoot. And that's my guess. And so just so you know, I'm not too big into cryptozoology anymore. All right, to the Facebook questions. Jody, did I watch the series Brea on NBC? Not yet. I've heard mixed reviews about this show. Some saying it's good, some saying like it's not too great, and then there's some it's like an in between where like they like some of the elements that are in there, like some of the substances in there in this show, and then there's some parts that are not so great. But I mean, I'll check it out like at some point. I might be able to watch an episode today, from when I'm recording this episode, which is on on the 14th of October. I don't know. I'll find out I'll find out probably a little bit later on. And then Brendan, what are my thoughts on Allosaurid scavenger hypothesis? I always believe Allosauroids like Giganotosaurus, Allosaurus, and Mosasaurus are opportunistic. Yeah, if a lot of people that have been following the science of paleontology, there was a paper that came out like a few months ago, and it was talking about how like Allosauroids, so like Allosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, Giganotosaurus, Mosasaurus, those types of dinosaurs, those types of carnivorous dinosaurs, it was hypothesizing about that these animals rarely hunted. They were mostly scavengers, and they were just because we've seen mass graves of these predators. So like Allosaurus, we find a lot of Allosaurus in the Morrison Formation. Giganotosaurus, I mean, it's still kind of a rare dinosaur. Carcharodontosaurus is still kind of a rare dinosaur. Mosasaurus, there was a mass grave of them found once. So how do I feel about this hypothesis? Well, for one thing is that I think that they had good intentions about this article, about this hypothesis. Is that they were testing out a hypothesis. They were looking at the mass graves of like Allosaurus and then Mosasaurus, and then add in like Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus into the mix. Is that they believe is that based on like their size, and also is that there were so many other predators that were around as well, is that they didn't need to hunt very often, and they would rather scavenge a bit more than say do a lot of predatory activity. Now, I have mixed feelings about this. Now, it is okay to say is that you can disagree with this paper, because remember, in science, you can disagree about a hypothesis that has come out, and you can say like, well, there is some problems with this and that sort of thing. Like, I mean, yeah, there is going to be flaws in this paper. There are flaws in this paper. Is that they were only focusing on the mass graves. They were not focused on the individuals that had, like, say, injuries on them that were probably due to predatory behavior. So, like, taking, for instance, Big Al. Like, there's so many injuries on that animal, and you think, like how could this be from scavenging? Or, like, yeah, you can make a guess is that, like, this is probably only due to, like, combat. Like, yeah, it could be the case there, like Allosaurus and Allosaurus combat. But then, like, some of the injuries were probably more likely due to that is that the prey was trying to escape. And so, yeah, you can make that case is that like that sort of thing. But I do believe, yes, I agree with you, Brendan, is that all predatory dinosaurs were opportunistic. Opportunistic is that they hunted and they scavenged. It didn't matter what it was. And so, like, if there was no like carcasses that were lying around, they can go out and hunt for prey. And if there is a carcass that is around and it is nearby them, they'll take advantage of it. You know, that's what all predators do today. And so, yeah, I agree with you. Is that all Allosauroids were opportunistic. I'll actually agree with that. And then Benjamin, Some questions here. Is Allosaurus the most aggressive of all Jurassic predatory dinosaurs? Um, I don't know about aggressive. I probably would say is that in terms of like say how often did it actually get aggressive? Remember, predators don't usually get aggressive that very often. The only times they would get aggressive is if it's more likely is that if they're facing the same type of animal. So if they're fighting their own species. So like take lions for example. Male lions only get aggressive when there's another male lion coming into their territory and be able to fight for the territory and for the females. I mean, female lions would get aggressive towards male lions, especially like if they're protecting their cubs, that sort of thing. So, what makes an animal aggressive? That is going to be the question. But I would say, is that Allosaurus would not get aggressive that very often. Now, when it comes to territory, food, mates, yes, they can be aggressive, but not in terms of that. If we went back in time in the Jurassic, like say 150 million years ago, in the Morrison Formation, let's say Utah, and we come across an Allosaurus, would it be aggressive towards us? I wouldn't think so. I think it would investigate us, try to figure out what we are, and like find out we're not, there's normal food, and then they just go like, okay, let's just get this is nothing we want to pay attention to. That sort of thing. So I'd probably say not as aggressive as what we might think. But in terms of injury wise, they can be aggressive, but it's just all a guess in terms of behavior right now. Can Baryonyx catch prey with his claws? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got those big claws that are in the inner parts of your hands. You gotta use them. You have to use them, and especially that if you're catching fish. I mean, they could catch like smaller dinosaurs too if they had to. Yeah, I can agree with that. Is Velociraptor the best known of all raptors? Mostly yes. And then probably Deinonychus would probably be right up there as well. Utahraptor's getting up there as well. I probably would say is that Velociraptor is the most well-known raptor of them all because, it's in pop culture, especially from the Jurassic franchise. So yeah, I'd probably say Velociraptor is one of those raptors that is best known. And who would win, Baryonyx or Allosaurus? Ooh, good one. Now, these animals never met each other. They were from different times and also from different continents. Because Allosaurus is from the Jurassic from 155 to 145 million years ago. And then you have Baryonyx that lived around 110 million years ago, or otherwise 100 million years ago to 90 million years ago. And then also that one's and Baryonyx is from Europe. So what would happen if they actually came into contact with each other? Now, Baryonyx would be mostly a specialist. So it would be mostly focusing on its prey is near water. It would live near water. Allosaurus would mostly just be a terrestrial dinosaur focusing on its prey that is on land. Now, what would happen if they actually did met each other? Baryonyx has got the long snout and also those big claws. Allosaurus has got big claws, but it's got a more dangerous bite, and I'd say Allosaurus is faster than Baryonyx. So I'd probably say Allosaurus on this one. Even though you're Spinosaur fans, I know that you would like to see your Spinosaurs beat every single predatory dinosaur, but in this case against Allosaurus, probably not. Is that Allosaurus would have the weaponry and also the speed to be able to make some devastating injuries on Baryonyx. And even though Baryonyx is a cool dinosaur, I love Baryonyx, and I also love Allosaurus as well. But I still would say Allosaurus over Baryonyx in this one. All right, that's it for now. Now, next week will be an extra episode, and let's actually keep the fun going. I'm actually gonna do something fun. It's about since it's like we're getting close to the Halloween, let's actually do my favorite, ugliest, or scariest prehistoric animals. And so let's actually keep that going. And November, I will be reviewing a movie for the next extra episode, so stay tuned for that one. But next week would be like my favorite prehistoric animals that were the ugliest and the scariest. So let's actually do that one. And you can still send me questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life by emailing me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or just go to my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you actually post your questions in the comment section. Please put them in the comment section. Don't put them on Messenger. Messengers are for private conversations. So in the comment section, please make sure you do that. And also for YouTubers out there, like the videos, also share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and also share the channel to anybody that is interested in dinosaurs or other prehistoric life. And stomp on that bell so that way you can get weekly notifications for every video that comes out. And also feel free to put your questions in the comment section because I do read them all. Your questions in the comments do mean a lot, especially in Q&A episodes. And you get a shout out on a Q&A episode. And that's pretty cool too. You guys are awesome for doing that. And so make sure you guys can do that. Make sure you keep your questions short and to the point. And you can also follow me on Instagram at dino.chris.pf. I post pretty cool stuff on there. You can also follow me on Twitter at CSGRAL. It's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there as well. Also, take care of people around you. Notice if you're younger people out there to make sure listen, your parents, your teachers, and guardians. It's the best motivation you could have for a good education. It's very important to have good education. With a good education, you get a good job in the future. And also in this kind of time, if you're not vaccinated, please wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands because that's very important. And also, not vaccinated, please make sure you get vaccinated because that's very important because we want to get to pre-pandemic normal. That's what we want. And also the vaccines are safe, so you can actually make sure you can get vaccinated. And also, feel free to check out Colossal Fossils. We're going after T-Rex. That's our fundraising. We're doing a fundraising for T-Rex. And so hopefully you can feel free to donate. Hit the donate tab and donate as much as you want for the T-Rex Fund or any other type of exhibit that you would like to see once we do get back into a new location. And so, yeah, feel free to check out Colossal Fossils. And that's it for now. And I'll see you guys next week.